Marry me. Today. Right now. The stranger stared at her through the rain, silver eyes unreadable in the chapel's lamplight. "I'll pay anything," she continued, hands shaking as she opened the leather case. Gold coins spilled across the altar, jewels glinted. Property deeds from her family vault, stolen just hours ago. "Name your price." He didn't look at the fortune, he looked at her. "Why?" "Because in 6 hours, I'll be dead." She drew a breath. "And I need a husband to make sure the bastards who killed me don't get away with it." Chapter 1. The Proposal. The chapel smelled of old wood and candle wax. Rain hammered against stained glass windows, casting fractured colors across the stone floor. Cassandra Pratt stood at the altar, drenched to the bone, her dark hair plastered to her face, chest heaving from running. The man before her didn't move, tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in worn travel clothes that had seen better days. His silver eyes studied her with an intensity that should have frightened her. But she was already terrified, so what was one more danger? 6 hours, he repeated slowly. His voice was deep, controlled. That's specific. The wedding is at dawn. Cassandra pushed wet hair from her face. Lord Brent Heath's estate. I'm supposed to marry him. Except I won't survive the honeymoon. Bold claim. It's not a claim. It's a fact. She reached into her cloak, pulled out folded parchment. Yet her hands trembled as she laid it on the altar beside the gold. This is the marriage contract I signed 3 months ago. Read Clause 17, subsection B. He picked up the document. Water dripped from her cloak onto the stone floor as she waited, counting heartbeats. His eyes scanned the page, then stopped. Upon marriage, he read aloud, all properties and titles transfer to husband. Upon wife's death within first year of marriage, said properties remain with husband with no investigation required by law or crown. I didn't read it before I signed. Shame burned through her. I was desperate. My brother was sentenced to execution for treason. Heath promised to save him if I agreed to marry him. She swallowed hard. My brother was executed 6 months ago. Heath lied, kept me compliant with false hope while he prepared the wedding. The stranger set down the contract. You could run. I tried. Yet his men found me at the border, dragged me back. She touched her left wrist, where bruises still showed purple beneath her sleeve. He said next time he'd break both legs, make sure I crawled down the aisle if necessary. So you came here? I heard rumors. A wolf-kind exile staying at the border chapel, someone with no connections to noble society. She met his silver gaze. Someone disposable enough that Heath wouldn't bother tracking down. Someone who might marry a stranger for gold. Something flickered in his expression. Disposable. I didn't mean... She stopped. Yes, she had meant exactly that. I need a legal marriage. Tonight. By morning, when Heath discovers I'm already wed, the contract voids. I'll be safe. Will you? He stepped closer. Rainlight caught the sharp angles of his face. A man willing to murder you for inheritance won't simply shrug and walk away. He'll have no legal claim, and I'll have witnesses. This documentation, proof that I married before his contract took effect. She gestured to the gold. That's 10,000 in coin, another 20,000 in jewels. The property deeds are worth triple that. It's yours. All of it. Just marry me. And after? After? After the wedding is cancelled and Heath can't touch you. What then? Cassandra hadn't thought that far. Survival first, future later. We part ways. You take the fortune, and I rebuild my life somewhere he'll never find me. The stranger picked up a gold coin, turned it over in his fingers. You're offering me 50,000 for one night of ceremony. Yes. That's not a marriage. That's a transaction. Exactly. Relief flooded through her. You understand. It's business, temporary, necessary. He set down the coin. I'll do it. You will? She hadn't expected agreement so quickly. But not for your gold. He pushed the leather case toward her. I have my own fortune. What I need is access. Her relief curdled into suspicion. Access to what? Heath's estate. Noble society. The kind of places a wandering wolf kind can't enter. His silver eyes gleamed. But a wedding guest, a husband, has full access to the manor, the grounds, the private wings where Heath keeps his real business. Ice slid down her spine. What business? That's my concern. He crossed his arms. Here's my offer. I'll marry you tonight. We'll present the documentation tomorrow, void your contract, keep you safe from Heath. But afterward, we stay married for 30 days. 30 days? Long enough for me to finish what I came here to do. Which is? Also my concern. Cassandra stared at him. She'd walked into this chapel looking for a disposable husband, someone simple, someone who'd take the money and disappear. Instead, she'd found someone with his own agenda, someone dangerous. After 30 days? She asked. We part ways. You keep your fortune. I keep my secrets. Clean separation. Every instinct screamed this was a mistake, trading one trap for another. But Heath's trap would kill her. This stranger's trap, whatever it was, at least gave her 30 days to figure out an escape. I need your name, she said, for the certificate. He hesitated. Then, Nathaniel. Just Nathaniel? For now, not reassuring. But nothing about this night was reassuring. Fine, 30 days. She extended her hand. Oh, do we have an agreement? He took her hand. His grip was warm, strong. The moment their skin touched, something jolted through her. Recognition, heat, a pull she couldn't name. His eyes widened slightly, as if he felt it too. Then he released her hand and stepped back. We have an agreement. He moved to the chapel door, opened it. Brother Gerald. An elderly priest appeared from the back chambers, blinking sleep from his eyes. Yes, my son? We need a marriage performed. Immediately. Brother Gerald looked between them. The drenched noblewoman, the stern wolf kind, the gold scattered across the altar. At this hour? It's urgent, Cassandra said. The priest sighed. Very well. Do you have witnesses? No, Nathaniel said. Just us. That's irregular. We'll pay triple the usual fee. Brother Gerald's eyes went to the gold. I'll fetch the certificate. As the priest shuffled away, Cassandra turned to Nathaniel. What did you feel? What, when we touched? Nothing. You're lying. Does it matter? Yes. No. She didn't know. Brother Gerald returned with parchment and quill. Names? Cassandra Pratt. Nathaniel Wagoner, the priest wrote carefully. Titles? Lady Cassandra of the Eastern Trade Houses, she said. Nathaniel said nothing. Brother Gerald looked up. And you, sir? Just Nathaniel Wagoner. The priest frowned but wrote it down. Very well. Join hands. Cassandra placed her hand in Nathaniel's again. That same jolt, stronger this time. His jaw tightened. Do you, Lady Cassandra, take this man as your lawfully wedded husband? Her voice came out steady. I do. And do you, Nathaniel, take this woman as your lawfully wedded wife? Silver eyes held hers. I do. Then by the power vested in me, I pronounce you married. May the moon witness your bond. It was done. Cassandra was married to a stranger. The certificate was signed, sealed, witnessed by Brother Gerald. Legal, binding, real. Thank you, brother. Nathaniel handed the priest a small pouch of coins. As Gerald counted the payment, Nathaniel turned to Cassandra. We should leave, before Heath's men think to search chapels. Where will we go? Somewhere safe. I have a room at the Border Inn. A room, singular. This was her wedding night, with a man whose full name she'd learned 5 minutes ago. "Lead the way," she said, because what choice did she have? They stepped into the rain. Thunder rolled overhead, and Cassandra wondered if she'd just escaped one death sentence by signing another. Chapter 2. The Inheritance Clause. 24 hours earlier, the study door was locked, but Cassandra had stolen the key from her father's desk 3 days ago. Her hands shook as she turned it, the click impossibly loud in the silent manner. Dawn was still an hour away. The servants wouldn't wake for another 30 minutes. She had time. Barely. Inside, moonlight spilled across mahogany furniture and leather-bound ledgers. Her father's private study, the place where Lord Ismail Pratt conducted business he didn't want witnesses for. The place where, according to the housemaid who'd slipped Cassandra a note yesterday, the truth about her brother was hidden. She moved to the desk, pulled open drawers with trembling fingers. Letters, contracts, property deeds, nothing about her brother Johnny. Then she found the locked drawer. Small, hidden beneath a false bottom in the main desk. And the key from her father's ring wouldn't fit. Damn it! She looked around desperately, found a letter opener on the desk, jammed it into the lock. It took 3 tries before the mechanism gave way with a crack that sounded like breaking bones. Inside, a single leather folder. She opened it. The first document was an execution order. Official crown seal. Her brother's name. Johnny Pratt. Executed for treason against the crown. Sentence carried out 6 months past. 6 months? But the wedding was 3 months ago when Heath had promised to save him. Her vision blurred. She gripped the desk edge to stay upright. He was already dead. Already in the ground. And she'd signed away her life for nothing. The second document was worse. Her marriage contract with Lord Brent Heath. But this copy had notations in her father's handwriting along the margins. Next to Clause 17, her father had written, "Confirm inheritance transfer is absolute. No reversions upon death." And below that, "Heath guarantees resolution within first year. Payment upon confirmation." Payment. Her father had sold her to Heath knowing she'd be murdered. Cassandra's stomach heaved. She pressed a hand over her mouth, swallowing bile. The third document made her blood turn to ice. A letter from Heath to her father, dated 2 weeks ago. Lord Pratt. Arrangements proceed as planned. The girl suspects nothing. Wedding confirmed for dawn, 20th day of autumn. Yet inheritance transfer will be immediate. Your compensation, 30% of total estate value upon her death, which I estimate within 3 months of marriage. An unfortunate riding accident, I believe. Tragic, but believable. As discussed, the brother's execution was necessary to maintain her compliance. She would never have agreed otherwise. Your sacrifice of one child to profit from another shows admirable pragmatism. I look forward to our continued partnership. B. Heath. The paper slipped from her fingers. Her father hadn't just allowed Johnny's execution. He'd agreed to it, used it as leverage to force her into this marriage, and Heath planned to murder her within 3 months. A riding accident. She'd never been on a horse. Everyone knew that. Which made it the perfect cover. Inexperienced rider, tragic fall, no questions asked. Footsteps in the hallway outside. Cassandra shoved the documents back into the folder. He closed the drawer as quietly as possible. Her heart hammered against her ribs. The footsteps passed. She waited, counting to 100 before slipping out of the study and back to her chambers. Inside, she locked the door and sank to the floor, folder clutched against her chest. The wedding was in 24 hours. If she went through with it, she'd be dead within 3 months. If she ran, Heath's men would find her, drag her back. And he'd said as much last week when she'd mentioned wanting to visit the coast. "You're mine now, darling. Best get used to staying close." If she told anyone, who would believe her? Heath was respected, wealthy, connected to half the noble houses in 3 kingdoms. Her father would deny everything, and she was just a desperate girl with stolen documents. There was only one option. The contract specified, marriage to any non-royal bloodline voids inheritance transfer. If she married someone else before the wedding to Heath, the contract became invalid. But who would marry her on one day's notice? No nobleman would risk Heath's wrath. No merchant would want the scandal. No one in her social circle would believe her story without proof she couldn't provide without condemning her own father. She needed someone outside noble society, someone with nothing to lose, someone who wouldn't ask questions. The housemaid's words from last week drifted back. There's a wolf kind staying at the border chapel. Exile, they say. Been there near a month now. Strange one. Silver eyes like moonlight. An exile. Someone with no pack, no connections, no reason to fear Heath. Someone disposable. The word tasted bitter, but it was true. She needed someone Heath wouldn't bother tracking down after the contract was voided. Someone who'd take payment and disappear. And Cassandra stood, moving to her wardrobe, pulled out a dark traveling cloak. From beneath her mattress, she retrieved the leather case she'd been filling for weeks, every gold coin from her allowance, every jewel from her mother's collection that her father hadn't locked away, every valuable she could steal without being noticed. It was enough. It had to be enough. She'd go tonight, find the wolf-kind exile, make her proposal, and pray he was desperate enough to accept. When the rain started as she slipped through the servants' entrance, Cassandra pulled her hood low, hurrying through the muddy streets toward the border. The chapel was 2 miles outside the city proper, where wolfkind were permitted to worship without mixing with human nobility. Her shoes were soaked through within minutes. Her cloak clung to her shoulders, heavy with water. But she didn't slow. Behind her, the manor where her father slept soundly after selling his daughter to a murderer. Ahead, a chapel where a stranger might be her only salvation. The building appeared through the rain like a ghost. Small, stone, a single light burning in the window. Cassandra pushed open the door. Inside, a man sat in the front pew. Tall, even sitting. Broad shoulders, dark hair wet from rain, as if he'd been out walking. He turned. Silver eyes caught the candlelight. She'd found him. "Chapel's closed," he said, voice low. "I'm not here to pray." Cassandra stepped forward, and water dripping from her cloak. "I'm here to make you an offer." He stood. She had to tilt her head back to meet his gaze. Well over 6 feet, built like a warrior, not a wanderer. "What kind of offer?" She set the leather case on the nearest pew, opened it. Gold gleamed in the candlelight. "Marry me," she said. "Tonight, right now. I'll pay anything." His expression didn't change. "Why?" "Because in 6 hours, I'll be dead." The words came easier this time, in the chapel, rehearsed during the walk. "And I need a husband to make sure the bastards who killed me don't get away with it." Something shifted in his silver eyes. Interest. Or maybe just curiosity. "Keep talking," he said. So she did. She told him about the contract, about Heath's plan, about her brother's execution and her father's betrayal. The words poured out in a rush, desperate and raw. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he picked up the marriage contract she'd brought as proof. Howe read it carefully. "Clause 17, he murmured. "Yes?" He looked at her. "You were foolish to sign this without reading it." "I know. And now you're being foolish again, offering a fortune to a stranger." "I know that too." She lifted her chin. "But I'm out of options, so will you help me or not?" He folded the contract, set it down. "I have conditions," he said. And that was when the real negotiation began. Chapter 3. The Stranger's Bargain. The border inn smelled of wet wood and smoke. Cassandra followed Nathaniel up narrow stairs to the second floor, her soaked cloak leaving a trail of water on the worn planks. He stopped at the last door, unlocked it, gestured for her to enter first. The room was small but clean. Single bed against one wall. A desk with maps spread across it, a trunk in the corner, one window overlooking the muddy road back toward the city. Cassandra stepped inside, is suddenly aware this was her wedding night. Nathaniel closed the door, locked it, moved to the desk, and began rolling up the maps quickly, efficiently, as if hiding something. "You can have the bed," he said without looking at her. "I'll take the floor." "That's not necessary." "It is." He finished with the maps, tucked them into the trunk. "This is a business arrangement. We'll treat it as such." Relief and something else, disappointment, twisted in her chest. She pushed both aside. "Oh, what were those maps?" "My business. We're married now. Doesn't that make your business my business?" He turned, silver eyes sharp. "For 30 days. After that, we're strangers again. The less you know, the safer you are." "Safe from what?" "From being implicated when this ends badly." Ice crawled down her spine. "When it ends badly? Not if." Nathaniel pulled off his wet coat, hung it on a hook by the door. Underneath, he wore a simple shirt that clung to broad shoulders and muscled arms, and not the build of a wanderer, the build of a fighter. "You've made an enemy of Lord Brent Heath," he said, "a man who planned to murder you for money. You think voiding a contract will make him simply walk away? The law protects men like Heath, not women like you." He sat on the room's single chair, studying her. "Tomorrow, when we present the marriage certificate, he'll be furious, dangerous, and he'll look for ways to punish you that don't break laws openly." Cassandra's hands clenched in her wet skirts. "Then what do you suggest?" "We make him more afraid of me than he is angry at you." "How?" "By making sure he knows exactly who you've married. You said you're in exile, no pack, no connections." "I lied." Her breath caught. "Then who are you?" Nathaniel leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Someone hunting the same people who killed your brother." The room tilted. What?" "Your brother wasn't a traitor. He was murdered for discovering something he shouldn't have. A trade network running through the Eastern Kingdoms. Illegal goods, magical contraband, weapons that aren't supposed to exist." "How do you know this?" "Because I've been tracking the network for 2 years, and every lead points back to one man." His voice went cold. "Lord Brent Heath." Cassandra sank onto the edge of the bed, legs suddenly weak. "Heath killed Johnny?" "Not personally." But he gave the order. Your brother worked in the customs office, correct? Processing trade shipments?" "Yes." "He found something in one of Heath's shipments, something that proved the network existed. So Heath had him arrested on false treason charges and executed before he could talk." Rage burned through her shock. "And my father knew?" "Your father profits from the network, has for years, 30% of every shipment that moves through his territories." She thought of the letter. The cold negotiation, her own father selling her life for profit. "Why didn't you tell me this in the chapel?" "Because 12 hours ago, I didn't know if you were part of it." Nathaniel's gaze never left her face. "Noble families protect their own. For all I knew, you were complicit, marrying Heath to solidify the partnership." "I would never—" "I know that now. Your desperation was real. Your grief was real." Something softened in his expression. "And your brother deserves justice." Justice. The word felt foreign. "Is that why you agreed to marry me? To get close to Heath?" "Yes." At least he was honest. "The wedding is at his estate," Nathaniel continued. "When we arrive tomorrow to void the contract, I'll have access to areas I couldn't reach otherwise. His private study, his correspondence, evidence of the network. And after you find this evidence, I bring him down, legally, publicly. I'll make sure everyone knows what he's done." "Who are you?" Cassandra asked again. "Really?" He hesitated, then stood, moved to his trunk, pulled out a folded cloth. When he unfolded it, she saw the crest embroidered there. Royal blue and silver, the crowned wolf of Thornhaven. Her blood went cold. "You're King Nathaniel Wagoner of Thornhaven." His voice was quiet. "And I've been hunting Heath's network because it's poisoning my kingdom from the inside." Cassandra couldn't breathe, as she'd married the king. The king. Why are you here alone? Where are your guards? Your advisors? Dead or compromised. 6 months ago, someone tried to poison me. The investigation revealed 3 of my royal guards were paid by Heath's network. I don't know how many others are corrupted. His jaw tightened. So I left. Quietly. Let everyone think I was touring the borders, and I've been working alone and gathering evidence. This is insane. Yes. If anyone finds out I married you without proper approval, the marriage is illegal. He said it flatly. Royal marriages require council approval, witnesses of rank, public ceremony. We had none of that. Then why agree to it? Because you gave me something I couldn't get otherwise. A legitimate reason to be at Heath's estate tomorrow. A legal marriage certificate that can't be dismissed as forgery. He looked at her steadily. You needed protection. I needed access. It's a fair trade. Except if this goes wrong, I'll be charged with treason for entering an illegal royal marriage. If this goes wrong, we'll both be dead. Treason charges will be the least of our problems. Cassandra wanted to scream, or laugh. She'd escaped one death trap by diving into another. 30 days, she said slowly. That's how long you need to gather evidence. Yes. And after that? We annul quietly, while you take your inheritance and disappear somewhere Heath can't reach. I return to Thornhaven with enough evidence to dismantle the network. And if Heath discovers the truth before then? Nathaniel's smile was cold. Then I stop pretending to be a wanderer and start acting like a king. Thunder cracked outside. Rain lashed the window. Cassandra stood, moved to the desk, picked up one of the maps he'd been hiding. It showed Heath's estate in detail, guard positions marked, secret passages noted, entry points circled. You've been planning this for months, and I just happened to walk into your chapel at the exact right time. Fate, luck, coincidence, he shrugged. Call it what you want. She set down the map, turned to face him. What did you feel when we touched? In the chapel? Don't lie. His jaw tightened. Nothing that matters. It felt like recognition, like my blood knew you. The mate bond. He said it quietly. It's rare. When 2 wolfkind are fated for each other. Yeah, there's a pull. Recognition. I'm not wolfkind. Your grandmother was. I can smell it in your blood. Diluted, but there. His silver eyes held hers. The bond doesn't care about bloodline purity, only compatibility. So we're fated mates, yes. He said it like a curse, which is why I didn't tell you in the chapel. You were desperate, terrified. If I'd said we're destined for each other, you would have thought I was manipulating you, using your fear to trap you into something permanent. Weren't you? No. His voice was hard. The bond doesn't make choices for us. It just means we're compatible. We still have free will. We can still walk away after 30 days. Can we? She felt the pull even now, the urge to move closer, to touch him again. Or will the bond make that impossible? It will be difficult. He met her gaze steadily, but not impossible. I won't trap you, Cassandra. Not with fate, not with bonds, and not with anything. You've had enough people stealing your choices. Something in her chest loosened. Thank you, she whispered. He nodded, moved to the window, looking out at the rain-soaked night. Get some sleep. Tomorrow will be difficult. Heath won't take the news well. Cassandra looked at the bed, then at his broad shoulders silhouetted against the window. Her husband, her fated mate, the king she'd accidentally married while trying to save her own life. Nathaniel? Yes? When this is over, when we have evidence and Heath is arrested, what happens to my father? His silence was answer enough. He'll be charged too, she said, as an accomplice. Yes. Good. The word came out hard. He deserves it. Nathaniel turned, something like approval in his eyes. Get some rest. We leave at dawn. Cassandra removed her wet cloak, lay down on the bed fully clothed. and listened to the rain and Nathaniel's steady breathing and wondered how her life had become this. Married to a king, hunting a murderer, bonded to a stranger by fate she didn't believe in. Through the bond, she felt his presence like a steady flame, protective, determined, dangerous. She closed her eyes and tried to sleep. Chapter 4. The Fake Husband's Secret. Dawn came cold and gray. Cassandra woke to find Nathaniel already dressed, standing at the window with his arms crossed. "Heath knows," he said without turning. She sat up quickly. "What?" "A rider came through an hour ago, stopped at the inn, asked questions. The innkeeper told him about the wolf kind who'd been staying here, about the woman who arrived last night." He finally looked at her. "Heath's men are looking for you." Ice flooded her veins. Then we need to leave. We need to go directly to his estate. Now, before he has time to prepare a legal challenge." Cassandra stood, smoothing her wrinkled dress. She'd slept in her clothes, and she looked it. "I can't meet him like this." "You'll meet him exactly like this, disheveled, clearly just married. It reinforces that this was desperate and real, not calculated." Nathaniel moved to his trunk, pulled out fresh clothes. "Get ready. We leave in 10 minutes. She wanted to argue. But he was right. Looking desperate might be her best defense. While Nathaniel stepped into the hallway to give her privacy, Cassandra changed into the one spare dress she'd brought. Simple, dark blue, respectable enough for a confrontation with a lord. She braided her hair quickly, splashed water on her face from the basin. When she opened the door, Nathaniel was waiting. He'd changed into finer clothes, still travel-worn, but clearly expensive underneath the dirt. The clothes of someone who'd been hiding wealth. "Ready?" he asked. "No." "Yes." They descended to the inn's main room. The innkeeper watched them with worried eyes but said nothing. Outside, Nathaniel had 2 horses waiting. "I don't ride," Cassandra said. "You do today." He helped her mount, his hands steady on her waist. The brief touch sent warmth through the bond. "Hold the reins like this. The mare will follow my horse. Just stay balanced." They rode out as the sun broke through clouds, and painting the muddy road gold. Heath's estate appeared after an hour, a sprawling manor of white stone and dark timber, surrounded by manicured gardens and iron gates. Guards stood at the entrance, hands on weapons. "State your business," one called as they approached. "Lady Cassandra Pratt to see Lord Brent Heath," Nathaniel said. His voice carried authority that made the guard straighten. "Tell him his betrothed has arrived." The guard's eyes widened. He gestured to his partner, who ran toward the manor. They waited. Cassandra's hands shook on the reins. Through the bond, she felt Nathaniel's calm, steady, controlled, ready. The guard returned. "Lord Heath will see you in his study, both of you." They dismounted. A servant took the horses. Another led them through the manor's front entrance. Cassandra had been here once before, for the betrothal dinner. The memory made her stomach turn. Heath's cold eyes traveling over her body, his hand touching her face possessively, and his smile that never reached his eyes. The study door opened. Heath sat behind a massive oak desk, 40 years old, handsome in a cruel way, with dark hair graying at the temples and eyes like chips of ice. He wore expensive silk, rings on every finger. When he saw Cassandra, his expression didn't change, but his knuckles went white on the desk edge. "Cassandra, how unexpected." His voice was smooth, dangerous. "I was told you'd disappeared last night." "Imagine my concern." "I'm sure you were very concerned," she said, forcing steadiness into her voice. His eyes shifted to Nathaniel. "And you are?" "Her husband." Silence, sharp and absolute. Then Heath smiled. It was the most terrifying thing Cassandra had ever seen. "Her husband," he repeated softly. "Fascinating. When did this marriage occur?" "Last night," Nathaniel said. "At the border chapel, witnessed by Brother Gerald Townsend, sealed with proper documentation." "Documentation?" Heath stood slowly. "May I see it?" Nathaniel pulled the marriage certificate from his coat, laid it on the desk. Heath picked it up, read it carefully. His jaw tightened. "This is legitimate," he said finally. "Yes." "Which means our contract is void." He looked at Cassandra. "You clever little thing. You actually found a way out." "The contract specified marriage to non-royal bloodline voids the agreement," she said. I've fulfilled that condition." "So you have." Heath set down the certificate. "Though I'm curious, where did you find a husband on such short notice, and one willing to marry a woman promised to another man?" "I offered payment," Cassandra said, "enough to make it worth the risk." "How mercenary." Heath's smile widened. "And you, mysterious husband, what pack are you from?" "None of your concern," Nathaniel said. "Oh, but it is. You've married my betrothed, voided a very lucrative contract, and I think I'm entitled to know who's cost me such a fortune." "The contract was built on lies," Cassandra said, anger flaring. "You told me you'd save my brother. He was already dead." Heath's expression didn't flicker. "Your brother was a traitor. He got what traitors deserve." "He was innocent." "According to whom? You?" Heath laughed. "Grief has made you irrational, my dear, but I suppose it doesn't matter now. You've made your choice, married your wandering wolf kind. I wish you joy of each other." It was too easy, too calm. Cassandra's instincts screamed danger. "However," Heath continued, picking up the marriage certificate again, "there is one small problem. The contract includes a clause for breach of agreement. Blood debt, it's called. Old law, rarely invoked, but legally binding." "What are you talking about?" Cassandra demanded. Heath pulled another document from his desk drawer. "Section 23 of our contract, which you also failed to read. I assume. It states, marriage to any party before contracted wedding date constitutes willful breach and incurs blood debt to wronged party." Nathaniel's hand went to his belt, where a weapon would be. "Blood debt," Heath continued pleasantly, "means the breaching party owes a life. Yours, Lady Cassandra. Or," he looked at Nathaniel, "your husband's. My choice, claimable at any time within 1 year." The room spun. "That's barbaric," Cassandra whispered. "That's the law." Your signature is on the contract. You agreed to all terms, read or not." Heath folded the document carefully. "So here we are. You've escaped marriage to me, but you've condemned either yourself or your new husband to death. I can claim that debt whenever I wish. Today, tomorrow, 6 months from now." "Why not just kill us and be done with it?" Nathaniel asked, voice cold. "Because where's the fun in that?" "No. I think I'll let you wonder. Let you look over your shoulders every day, all waiting for me to decide whose life I want." Heath's smile was poison. "Besides, this way is legal. No blood on my hands publicly." Cassandra felt sick. She'd thought marriage would save her. Instead, she'd just put Nathaniel in danger too. "There is one alternative," Heath said. "Annul the marriage. Return to me willingly. Resume our original contract. I'll forgive the blood debt." "Never," Cassandra said. "Pity." Heath moved around the desk, stood too close. You would have made a lovely corpse. All that spirit extinguished. What a waste." Nathaniel stepped between them. "Touch her, and blood debt or not, you'll die today." Something flickered in Heath's eyes. Recognition. Or maybe just calculation. "You're not just a wanderer," Heath said slowly. "The way you stand, the way you speak. You're trained. Military? No. Something else." His eyes narrowed. "Who are you? Someone you don't want as an enemy?" "Too late for that." Heath stepped back. "Yeah, guards!" The study door opened. 4 armed men entered. "Escort our guests from the property," Heath ordered. "They're no longer welcome here." As the guards surrounded them, Heath smiled at Cassandra. "Enjoy your marriage, my dear, however long it lasts. I'll be seeing you again soon. That's a promise." They were marched out of the study, through the halls, out the front entrance. The guards didn't release them until they were past the gates. When they were finally alone on the road, Cassandra turned to Nathaniel. "I'm sorry. I didn't know about the blood debt clause. I've put you in danger." "You didn't know," he said quietly. "But I did." She froze. "What?" "I read the entire contract last night while you slept. I saw the blood debt clause. And you didn't tell me?" "Because I needed you to go through with it, needed access to Heath's estate." His silver eyes met hers. "And because blood debt works both ways. If he tries to claim it and fails, if I survive his attempt, I can claim his life in return. Legally." "You're planning to use me as bait," she whispered. "I'm planning to end him, permanently." "By letting him try to kill one of us first." "Yes." Rage and betrayal flooded through her. "You manipulated me. I gave you what you wanted. Freedom from Heath's marriage, protection, a way out. At what cost? My life? Yours? I can protect us both. Can you?" She grabbed his arm. "He's not just a lord. He has money, power, connections. And now he knows you're more than you appear. He'll dig. He'll discover you're the king. And then the game gets interesting." Nathaniel's smile was cold. "Let him discover it. Let him panic. Desperate men make mistakes, and I'll be waiting when he does." Cassandra stared at him. This man she'd married, this stranger who was using her, protecting her, risking everything on a dangerous gamble. "I don't trust you," she said. "Good. You shouldn't." He pulled his arm free. "But you're stuck with me for 30 days, so we might as well make the most of it." He walked toward the horses. Cassandra stood frozen, watching him. Through the bond, she felt his determination, his cold anger, his absolute certainty that this plan would work. She also felt something else, something he was trying to hide. Fear, not for himself, for her. Chapter 5. The Wedding Crasher. 3 days passed in tense silence. Nathaniel rented a small house on the edge of the city, far enough from Heath's estate to feel safe, close enough to watch his movements. They lived like strangers, sharing space. He worked at the desk, studying maps and documents. She paced, waiting for death to knock on the door. The bond hummed between them constantly. She felt his presence in every room, his emotions bleeding through when his control slipped. And hers to him, she knew, the fear she tried to hide, the anger that wouldn't fade. On the 4th morning, a letter arrived. Nathaniel opened it at the breakfast table, read in silence, then slid it across to her. The paper was expensive. Heath's personal seal in red wax. "Lord and Lady Wagoner, I would be delighted if you would join me for dinner tonight at my estate. Let us discuss our unfortunate situation like civilized people. Perhaps we can reach an understanding. B. Heath." "It's a trap," Cassandra said. "Obviously." "Then we're not going." "We are." Nathaniel folded the letter. "This is our chance." "Our chance to die?" "Our chance to get evidence. He's overconfident, thinks he's won. He'll slip." Silver eyes met hers. "And I'll be watching when he does." Cassandra's hands clenched on her teacup. "You're using this dinner to search his study." "Yes. While I distract him. You'll be safe. I won't let him touch you." "You can't promise that." You can't be 2 places at once." "Then I'll be faster than him." Nathaniel stood. "We leave at sunset. Wear something formal. Play the obedient wife. Keep him talking." "And if he realizes what you're doing?" "He won't. Your confidence is going to get us killed. My confidence is the only thing keeping us alive." He moved to the door, stopped, turned back. "I know you're frightened. I know you don't trust me. But Cassandra, I will not let him hurt you. That's not a promise." "That's a fact." Through the bond, she felt the absolute truth of it. Then he was gone, leaving her alone with cold tea and colder fear. Sunset came too quickly. Cassandra dressed in the formal gown she'd brought from home, deep green silk that had been her mother's. She braided her hair up, added simple pearl earrings, looked like a lady, not a terrified girl playing at being brave. Nathaniel appeared in travel-worn formal clothes that somehow still looked expensive, and his silver eyes swept over her. "You look like nobility." "I am nobility." "Tonight you're a queen." The word hung between them. Queen. His queen, technically, though the marriage was illegal. "Don't call me that," she said quietly. "Why not? It's what you are." "It's what I'll be charged with when this ends, falsely claiming a royal title. If this ends badly, treason charges will be the least of our problems." He offered his arm. "Ready?" "No." Yes." The carriage ride to Heath's estate was silent. Nathaniel spent it reviewing maps, memorizing layouts. Cassandra watched the countryside pass and wondered if this was the last sunset she'd see. Guards waited at the gates. More than before. They checked Nathaniel for weapons, found 3 knives. "You'll get them back when you leave," the captain said. "If we leave," Nathaniel replied pleasantly. The guard's expression didn't change. They were escorted into the manor. Through hallways lit by too many candles, past servants who wouldn't meet their eyes, to a private dining room Cassandra had never seen before. Heath stood when they entered. He wore black silk, rings flashing in candlelight. "Lady Cassandra, Lord Waggoner, how delightful you could join me." His smile was warm, lying. "Please, sit." The table was set for 3, expensive china. Silver goblets, food already laid out, roasted pheasant, glazed vegetables, fresh bread. "I took the liberty of ordering for us," Heath said as they sat. "I hope you don't mind." "Your hospitality is overwhelming," Nathaniel said dryly. Heath laughed. "I suppose I deserve your suspicion, but truly, I simply wish to talk. We began on the wrong foot. Perhaps we can find common ground." "Common ground between a murderer and his victims?" Cassandra asked. Such harsh words. Heath poured wine into 3 goblets. "Your brother's death was regrettable, but he broke the law. I merely reported it. You had him killed for discovering your smuggling network." Heath paused, goblet halfway to his lips, then smiled. "Smuggling? What an interesting accusation. Do you have proof?" "Not yet," Nathaniel said. "Then it's slander." Heath sipped his wine. "Be careful, Lord Waggoner. Slandering nobility can have consequences. So can murdering innocents." The temperature in the room dropped. Heath set down his goblet carefully. "You're very bold for an exile with no pack. Makes me wonder what you're hiding." "Nothing you need to know." "Oh, but I disagree. You married my betrothed. Cost me a fortune. I think I deserve to know exactly who you are." Heath leaned forward. "I've made inquiries, asked around. And do you know what I found? Nothing. No records of a Nathaniel Waggoner. No pack history. No family lineage. It's as if you didn't exist before 3 months ago." Cassandra's heart hammered. She felt Nathaniel's tension through the bond. Some of us value privacy," Nathaniel said. "Or some of us are hiding something significant." Heath's eyes gleamed. "Tell me, have you ever been to Thornhaven?" Silence, sharp and dangerous. "Why would I have been to Thornhaven?" Nathaniel asked carefully. "Because 6 months ago, King Nathaniel Waggoner supposedly left on a border tour, but no one has seen him since. Rumors say he's dead, poisoned by traitors in his own court." Heath smiled. "But what if he's not dead? What if he's here, that hunting the network that tried to kill him?" Cassandra stopped breathing. "That would be quite a story," Nathaniel said. His voice was steady, but through the bond she felt panic. "Wouldn't it?" Heath stood, walked slowly around the table. "Here's what I think. I think you're King Nathaniel. I think you married Lady Cassandra to get access to my estate, to gather evidence against me. And I think—" He stopped behind Cassandra's chair. That you've made a terrible mistake." Nathaniel's hand moved, but he had no weapons. "Guards!" Heath called. The doors burst open. A dozen armed men poured in. "Arrest them both," Heath ordered. "Treason against the crown, illegal royal marriage, conspiracy to commit fraud." "You can't," Cassandra said. "We've broken no laws." Haven't you? An illegal marriage performed without royal approval is treason, and you both participated willingly. Heath smiled down at her. I'm doing my civic duty. As turning in criminals, the crown will thank me. Nathaniel stood slowly. If you do this, you'll start a war. Will I? Between whom and whom? You're a king with no kingdom, no guards, no proof of identity beyond your word. And I'm a respected lord turning in impostors. Heath gestured to the guards. Take them to the cellar. We'll send word to Thornhaven in the morning. Let the council decide if this is really their missing king or just a clever fraud. The guards moved forward. Chet Nathaniel caught Cassandra's eye. Through the bond, she felt his message. Trust me. Then he moved, faster than she'd ever seen anyone move. He grabbed the nearest guard's sword, disarmed him with a twist, spun, and drove the pommel into another guard's face. 2 men down in seconds. The remaining guards rushed him. Nathaniel fought like something inhuman, blocking strikes, redirecting blades, using their numbers against them. But there were too many. A blade caught his shoulder. Blood bloomed on his shirt. Nathaniel! Cassandra screamed. He looked at her, just for a moment. That moment cost him. A guard struck him from behind. He went down hard, sword clattering from his hand. Guards pinned him to the floor, bound his hands. Alive, Heath ordered. I need him alive for the trial. Her, too. Hands grabbed Cassandra. She fought, kicking, clawing. It made no difference. They were dragged from the dining room, down stone stairs, into darkness. The cellar smelled of damp and rot. The guards threw Nathaniel into one cell, Cassandra into another. Iron bars slammed shut between them. Heath appeared in the doorway, torch in hand. Comfortable? Good. You'll be here until morning. Then we'll see if Thornhaven claims you or disavows you. He smiled at Cassandra. Either way, my dear, the blood debt still stands. If he lives through this, I'll claim your life. If he dies, well, I'll claim it anyway. For the inconvenience. He left, taking the light with him. In the darkness, Cassandra heard Nathaniel breathing hard, injured. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be. His voice was rough with pain. This is exactly where I need to be. What? The evidence I need is in the cellar archive, 3 doors down from here. Records Heath thought no one would ever find. He laughed darkly. He just locked me in with proof of his crimes. You planned this? Not the getting stabbed part, but the rest? Yes. Fury flooded through her. Oh, you're insane. Probably. She heard him moving in his cell, metal scraping. Can you reach the lock on your cell door? Wait, are you picking your lock? Already done. Now I need you to distract the guards. How? Scream, cry, make them think you're hurt. When they come to check, I'll handle the rest. And then? Then we get the evidence, get out of here, and end Heath once and for all. Through the bond, she felt his determination, his absolute certainty, and underneath it, her pain he was trying to hide. The wound in his shoulder was worse than he'd admitted. Nathaniel, trust me, Cassandra, one more time, please. She took a breath, then she screamed. Chapter 6. The King's Gambit. The guards came running, 2 of them, torches held high, swords drawn. They stopped at Cassandra's cell, peering through the bars. What's wrong with you? The first guard demanded. My leg, I think it's broken. When you threw me in, I fell. Cassandra gasped, clutching her ankle. Please, it hurts. Lord Heath said no one goes in the cells, the second guard said. She could be dying. Then she dies. Our orders are clear. Cassandra let out another scream, and this one raw and desperate. The first guard swore. At least let me look. If she dies before morning, Heath will have our heads. He moved to unlock her cell. Behind them, Nathaniel's cell door swung open silently. He emerged like a shadow, grabbed the second guard from behind, hand over his mouth, and drove him into the stone wall. The man crumpled. The first guard spun, reaching for his sword. Nathaniel was faster. He caught the guard's wrist, twisted, and the sword clattered to the floor. And a punch to the jaw, and the guard collapsed. Nicely done, Nathaniel said to Cassandra, breathing hard. She stood, no injury at all. You're bleeding. I'm aware. He pulled keys from the unconscious guard's belt, unlocked her cell. We have maybe 5 minutes before someone checks on them. Move. They ran down the corridor. Nathaniel counted doors, stopped at the third one. Locked. He tried 3 keys before finding the right one. The archive room was small, lined with shelves holding ledgers and bound documents. A single desk sat in the corner, covered in papers. What are we looking for? Cassandra asked. Shipping manifests, records of illegal goods moved through eastern trade routes, proof that Heath is running contraband. Nathaniel moved to the desk, started rifling through documents. Names, dates, payments, anything that connects him directly to here. He pulled out a leather journal, opened it. Even in the dim torchlight, Cassandra could see it was a record book. Dates, locations, amounts, and next to each entry, names she recognized. Noble families, merchant houses, officials. Her father's name appeared on every 3rd page. This is it, Nathaniel said. Proof of the entire network. With this, I can... Footsteps echoed in the corridor. Many footsteps. They know we're out, Cassandra whispered. Nathaniel shoved the journal inside his shirt. The window. Can you climb? She looked up. But a narrow window near the ceiling, barely wide enough for a person. I think so. Then go. Now. He lifted her, and she grabbed the window ledge, hauling herself up. The window opened onto ground level. They were in a half-basement. She squeezed through, dropped onto damp grass. Nathaniel followed, grunting as his injured shoulder scraped the window frame. Fresh blood soaked his shirt. They were in the gardens behind the manor. Voices shouted from inside. The stables, Nathaniel said. We need horses. They ran, keeping to shadows. The stables loomed ahead, dark and quiet. Inside, horses shuffled in their stalls. Nathaniel grabbed saddles with his good arm, wincing. Let me, Cassandra said, taking the saddle from him. She'd watched stable hands do this 100 times. Her fingers fumbled with buckles, but she managed. They led 2 horses outside, mounted. Behind them, the manor erupted in chaos. Torches, shouts, guards pouring into the gardens. There! Someone yelled. And arrows whistled through the air. Nathaniel kicked his horse into a gallop. Cassandra followed, holding on desperately as they raced toward the gates. The gates were closed. Guards moved to block them. Hold on! Nathaniel shouted. He rode straight at the gates. At the last moment, his horse jumped, clearing the iron bars in a leap that stole Cassandra's breath. Her mare followed, instinct taking over. They cleared the gates, landed hard on the road beyond, and then they were riding into darkness. The manor's lights fading behind them. They didn't stop until the horses were lathered and heaving. A mile outside the city, Nathaniel pulled up near a grove of trees. He dismounted, swayed, caught himself on the saddle. Nathaniel, I'm fine. He wasn't. Blood covered his entire left side now. His face was pale in the moonlight. Cassandra dismounted, moved to him. Let me see. We don't have time. Let me see, or you'll fall off your horse in another mile and die in a ditch. He met her eyes, then nodded. She helped him remove his coat. His shirt was soaked through. When she peeled it back, she saw the wound, a deep gash across his shoulder blade, still bleeding freely. It needs stitches, she said. It needs to wait until we're somewhere safe. You're losing too much blood. Then we move fast. He pulled the journal from inside his ruined shirt, held it out to her. If something happens to me, you take this. Ride to Thornhaven. Give it to the Royal Council. Let's tell them everything! Nothing is going to happen to you. Cassandra, no. She pressed her hand over the wound, applying pressure. He hissed in pain. We do this together or not at all. Those were your words, so stop trying to be noble and let me help you. Through the bond, she felt his surprise. Then something softer, gratitude maybe, or respect. There's a safe house, he said. 2 miles north, a woman named Nina Hodge. She's loyal to the crown. We can trust her. Then we go there. Oh, now. She helped him back onto his horse. He swayed again, but stayed upright. They rode slowly now. Every few minutes, Cassandra checked to make sure he was still conscious. The bond helped. She could feel him, fading but fighting. The safe house was a small cottage at the edge of a forest, dark except for a single candle in the window. Cassandra dismounted, ran to the door, knocked urgently. A woman opened it, older, gray-haired, sharp-eyed. She took one look at Nathaniel slumped on the horse, and her expression hardened. "Inside! Quickly!" Between them, they got Nathaniel into the cottage, laid him on the table. Nina worked efficiently. She cut away his shirt, examined the wound, started gathering supplies, clean cloth, needle and thread, a bottle of something clear that smelled like alcohol. "This will hurt," she told Nathaniel. "Everything hurts," he said. She poured the alcohol into the wound. He went rigid, teeth clenched, but didn't cry out. Cassandra took his hand. He gripped it hard enough to bruise. Nina stitched quickly, competently. When she finished, she bound the wound with clean bandages. "He'll live," she said, "but he needs rest. Days of it, not hours." "We don't have days," Nathaniel said. "Heath knows who I am. He'll send word to Thornhaven. If the corrupted council members get that message first, then they'll declare you an imposter and issue execution orders," Nina finished, and she looked at Cassandra. "Is it true? You married him illegally?" "Yes. Foolish girl." But there was no judgment in Nina's voice. "Heath will use that, turn the entire kingdom against you both." "Unless we move first," Nathaniel said. He tried to sit up. Nina pushed him back down. "You're not moving anywhere tonight. You've lost too much blood." "Nina, Your Majesty." The formal title stopped him. "I've served the crown for 40 years. I watched your father die." "I will not watch you throw your life away on pride." Her voice gentled. "Rest tonight. Heal enough to ride. Then we make our move." Nathaniel looked at Cassandra. Through the bond, she felt his frustration warring with reason. "She's right," Cassandra said quietly. "You'll be no good to anyone dead." He closed his eyes. "One night, then we ride to Thornhaven." "Together," Cassandra said. His hand tightened on hers. "Together." Nina made up the cottage's single bed for Nathaniel. Cassandra helped him into it, his weight heavy against her. "Stay," he mumbled as she started to pull away. "I'm not going anywhere. No, I mean, stay. Here, I need to know you're close." The bond pulsed between them. She felt what he wouldn't say, fear that Heath's men would find them in the night, that he'd wake to find her gone, that he'd failed to protect her. "I'll stay," she promised. She pulled a chair beside the bed, took his hand again. Nina appeared with blankets. "Sleep, both of you. I'll keep watch." "Nina," Nathaniel said, voice already slurring with exhaustion. "The journal. Keep it safe." "I will, Your Majesty." Cassandra watched as sleep claimed him. His breathing evened out, though pain still creased his forehead. Through the bond, she felt him dreaming. Fragments, his father's death, poison in wine, guards turning traitor, running alone through darkness. She squeezed his hand, sent calm through the bond, the way he'd sent her strength. His dreams quieted. Nina sat across from them, sharpening a knife that gleamed in candlelight. "You love him," the older woman said. Not a question. "I barely know him." "That's not what I asked." Cassandra looked at their joined hands. "The mate bond isn't love. It's compatibility. Potential." Nina's eyes were knowing. Love is choosing to stay, when leaving would be easier. Love is binding wounds and holding hands through nightmares. Or love is trusting someone with your life even when they've lied to you. He did lie. Yes, to protect you, to protect himself, to survive in a world that wants him dead. Nina set down her knife. "The question isn't whether he lied, it's whether you can forgive him for it." Cassandra watched Nathaniel sleep. This king who'd hidden his identity, used her desperation, risked both their lives on a dangerous gamble. This man who'd fought a dozen guards to protect her, who'd chosen to let her escape the window first, who'd held her hand through his pain and asked her to stay. "I don't know," she whispered. "Then you have time to figure it out." Nina stood. "But figure it out fast, because when we reach Thornhaven, everything changes. You'll be queen, illegal or not, and queens don't have the luxury of uncertainty." She moved to the window to keep watch. Cassandra sat in the darkness, holding the hand of a king, and wondered what she'd become. A wife, a partner, a queen, or just a desperate woman who'd made too many bargains with strangers. Outside, wind whispered through trees, and somewhere in the distance, hunters searched for their prey. Chapter 7. Undercover in the enemy's den. Morning came with the sound of horses. Cassandra woke in the chair, still holding Nathaniel's hand. Nina stood at the window, knife ready. "How many?" Nathaniel asked. He was already awake, already trying to sit up. "4 riders. Heath's colors." Nina's voice was grim. "They're checking every house on the road." "How long?" 10 minutes, maybe less." Nathaniel swung his legs off the bed, winced. "Oh, we need to move." "You can barely stand," Cassandra protested. "Then I'll stand barely. We can't lead them to Nina." He looked at the older woman. "The journal?" Nina pulled it from inside her apron. "Hidden in the garden shed last night. If they search, they won't find it." "Good." Nathaniel took Cassandra's arm. "The back way, through the forest." They stumbled out the cottage's rear door as hoofbeats grew louder out front. The forest swallowed them, dense pines that blocked the rising sun. As Nathaniel leaned heavily on Cassandra, each step left a trail of blood from his reopened wound. "We need to stop," she said. "We need to get farther first." They pushed deeper into the trees. Behind them, voices shouted, the sound of Nina's door being kicked open. "Keep moving," Nathaniel urged. A creek appeared through the undergrowth. Nathaniel led them into the water, upstream, covering their tracks. The cold made him shudder. After 100 yards, he climbed out and collapsed against a fallen tree. "Nathaniel?" "Just need a moment." His face was gray. The bandage Nina had applied was soaked red. Cassandra knelt beside him, checked the wound. It was bleeding again, worse than before. "This is going to kill you," she said. "Heath will kill me faster." But his eyes were closing. Through the bond, she felt him fading. Blood loss, exhaustion, pain he'd been fighting since yesterday. She pulled off her outer skirt, tore it into strips. Pressed them against the wound. "Stay with me," she ordered. "Bossy," he mumbled. "You married a lady of the eastern trade houses. We're all bossy." A ghost of a smile. Then his eyes closed. Panic shot through her. "Nathaniel! Nathaniel!" His eyes opened slowly. "Still here." "You can't sleep. If you sleep, you might not wake up." "Might be peaceful." "Don't you dare." She gripped his face. "You promised me 30 days. We're only at 7. You don't get to break your promises." "Technically," he said, words slurring, "I promised 30 days of marriage. Death doesn't void the contract." "Stop joking." "Not joking. Stating legal facts." His hand covered hers. "Cassandra, if I don't make it to Thornhaven..." "You will." "If I don't, you take the journal. You find a man named Justin Kane, royal advisor, still loyal. Give him the evidence. Tell him everything. Tell him yourself. Promise me." Through the bond, she felt his certainty that he might not survive this, felt his desperate need to know the mission would continue. "I promise," she whispered. "Good." His eyes closed again. "Now let me rest, just for a moment." "No." But he was already unconscious. Cassandra pressed harder on the wound. The bleeding was slowing, but his pulse was weak, his breathing shallow. She couldn't move him, couldn't get him back to Nina's cottage, couldn't... Hoofbeats. Close. Too close. She looked around frantically. as the fallen tree they'd collapsed against had a hollow beneath it, barely large enough for one person. She couldn't fit them both. The decision made itself. She dragged Nathaniel into the hollow, covered him with branches and leaves, made sure the journal was hidden in his coat. Then she stood, walked away from his hiding spot, made noise, broke twigs, left obvious tracks. When Heath's men found her 5 minutes later, she was sitting on a rock beside the creek, alone. Well, the lead writer said. He was the captain who'd disarmed Nathaniel yesterday. Lady Cassandra, where's your husband? Dead, she said flatly. The captain dismounted. Dead? His wound got infected. Fever took him in the night. I buried him near the road. Show us. No. That wasn't a request. I don't care. She stood. You want to dig up every grave between here and the city, be my guest. I'm not helping you desecrate my husband's body. The captain studied her. Lord Heath will want proof. Then Lord Heath can dig himself. Through the bond, she felt Nathaniel, still alive, still unconscious, well hidden. She pushed calm through the connection, sent the message, stay down, stay quiet. Check the area, the captain ordered his men. If there's a fresh grave, find it. The riders spread out. Cassandra watched them search, prayed they wouldn't find the hollow tree. After 20 minutes, they returned. Nothing, sir. The captain grabbed Cassandra's arm. You're coming back with us. Lord Heath will want to hear your story personally. I'm not going anywhere with you. Again, not a request. He pulled her toward his horse. She fought, kicked, screamed. It didn't matter. They bound her hands, threw her over the horse in front of the captain, rode back toward the manor. Through the bond, she felt Nathaniel stir, felt his panic when he realized she was gone. Stay hidden, she sent with everything she had. Live, finish this. His response was fury. The bond blazed with it, but he stayed where he was, because he knew she was right. One of them had to survive. One of them had to get the evidence to Thornhaven. Heath's manor appeared through the trees. Cassandra closed her eyes and prayed this wasn't the last sunrise she'd see. They threw her into a different cell this time, above ground, a guest room that had been stripped of furniture except for a bed and a chair. Guards locked the door from outside. She was alone. For an hour, and nothing happened. Then the door opened. Heath entered, dressed immaculately as always. He carried a tray with tea and small cakes. I thought you might be hungry, he said pleasantly. Cassandra didn't move from where she sat on the bed. Heath set the tray on the chair, poured tea. Your husband is dead, I'm told. How tragic. Yes. And yet you seem remarkably calm for a new widow. I've had a very long week. I'm out of tears. Heath smiled. You're lying. He's not dead. Her heart stopped. I buried him myself. No, you didn't. My men found no grave, no body, no signs of burial. He sipped his tea. You hid him, protected him. Very noble, very stupid. Believe what you want. Oh, I believe he's alive. Wounded, hiding, but alive. Heath set down his cup. And I believe you'll tell me where he is. I won't. We'll see. He moved closer, sat on the edge of the bed. Too close. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell me where the king is hiding. You're going to tell me where the evidence is that you stole from my archive. And in return, I'll let you live. No. Think carefully, Cassandra. Your husband is dying in a forest somewhere, bleeding out. Alone. If you tell me where he is, I'll send a healer. Keep him alive for trial. That's more mercy than he deserves. You'll kill him. Eventually. But I'll let him live long enough to see you safe. That's what you want, isn't it? And to save him? She wanted to scream that Nathaniel would rather die than be captured, that the mission mattered more than either of their lives. But Heath was watching her too carefully. I don't know where he is, she said finally. We separated in the forest. He went north. I went south. I haven't seen him since. Liar. But there was uncertainty in Heath's eyes. Believe what you want, she repeated. Heath stood. You're protecting him. How sweet. But misguided. He moved to the door. Stopped. I'm hosting another dinner tonight. Small gathering. A few loyal nobles who share my interests. You'll attend. I won't. You will. Because if you don't, I'll send 50 men into that forest to hunt your husband. And when they find him, and they will, they'll kill him slowly. Make it hurt. His smile was poison. But if you attend dinner, play the obedient guest, I'll pull my men back. Give him one more night to bleed out in peace. Why do you want me at dinner? Because those nobles need to see that I'm in control, that even the king's wife obeys me. It sends a message. He opened the door. Dinner is at sunset. A maid will bring you a dress. I suggest you wear it. He left. Cassandra sat in silence, mind racing. Nathaniel was alive, hidden. But for how long? He'd lost too much blood, needed medical help, and she was trapped here, playing games with a murderer. Through the bond, she felt him. Weak, but conscious now. Furious that she'd been captured. She sent what comfort she could. And a message. Get to Thornhaven. Forget about me. His response was immediate and absolute. Never. Stubborn man. Stubborn, dying man who would throw away everything to save her. She had to keep Heath distracted. Had to buy Nathaniel time to either heal enough to escape or find help, which meant she had to attend dinner, had to face whatever Heath had planned, and had to survive one more night. The dress arrived at sunset. Black silk, elegant, the kind of thing a widow would wear, a mockery. Cassandra put it on. Let the maid do her hair. Looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. A week ago, she'd been desperate but free. Now she was trapped, married to a dying king, facing a man who wanted her dead. But she was still alive, and where there was life, there was a chance. Guards escorted her to the dining room. The same one from before. But this time, the table was full. 10 nobles sat in expensive clothes, wine glasses already full. She recognized some of them, powerful lords and ladies from the eastern territories. Her father was among them. Their eyes met across the table. He looked away first. Heath stood at the head of the table. Lady Cassandra, how good of you to join us. She said nothing. Please sit. He gestured to the chair at his right hand, the place of honor, the place that marked her as his. Cassandra walked to the chair, sat, kept her spine straight, her face blank. Let me introduce everyone, Heath said, though I believe you know most of these fine people already. He went around the table, naming names she knew. Lords who controlled trade routes, ladies who held political power, all of them connected to Heath's network, all of them smiling at her like she was already dead. We're celebrating tonight, Heath announced. The capture of a dangerous criminal. A man claiming to be King Nathaniel, who entered an illegal marriage and attempted to frame me for crimes I didn't commit. Murmurs of approval around the table. Fortunately, Lady Cassandra has seen reason. She understands that her husband was using her, manipulating her, and she's agreed to testify against him when he's found. Every eye turned to her. Cassandra looked at Heath. Through the bond, she felt Nathaniel's presence like a distant star, fading but still there. She smiled, cold and sharp. Actually, she said clearly, I agreed to no such thing. Heath's expression froze. Everything my husband told you is true, she continued. You run an illegal smuggling network. You murdered my brother for discovering it. You planned to kill me for my inheritance. And every person at this table profits from your crimes. Shocked silence. Then her father stood. Cassandra, be quiet. No. She stood too. I've been quiet my whole life, obedient, compliant, and it nearly got me killed. She looked at Heath. But I'm done being your victim. Heath's face went dark with rage. Guards! Won't help you. Cassandra pulled something from inside her dress. a folded paper. Because before I came to dinner, I sent a message to the Royal Council, telling them everything, where you are, what you've done, and that you're holding the king's wife prisoner. It was a lie, and a desperate bluff, but Heath didn't know that. You're lying, he said. Am I? Do you want to risk it? She smiled. They'll be here by morning, royal guards, investigators, and they'll tear this manor apart looking for evidence. Around the table, nobles began shifting nervously, calculating, wondering if they should run. Heath grabbed her arm. You've just signed your death warrant. Maybe, but I'll die knowing I took you down with me. Through the bond, she felt Nathaniel, closer now, moving toward the manor. No, she sent. Stay away. His response was furious but clear. Coming for you. Heath dragged her toward the door. Everyone out, now, we're leaving. The nobles scattered, panic spreading. In the chaos, Cassandra saw her chance. She yanked free from Heath's grip, ran. Guards shouted behind her, but she knew this manor now, knew the back corridors. She ran toward the stables, toward freedom, toward Nathaniel. Chapter 8. The Bond Breaks. Cassandra burst through the stable doors. Horses whinnied, startled by her entrance. Behind her, footsteps pounded. Guards, close. She grabbed a saddle from the wall, hands shaking. Picked the nearest horse, a gray mare that looked fast. Stop! A guard appeared in the doorway. She threw the saddle over the mare's back, fumbled with buckles. The guard advanced, sword drawn. Then a figure dropped from the hayloft above, landed between them. Nathaniel. Yet he moved like death itself, pale, blood-soaked, but unstoppable. He disarmed the guard with one hand, drove a fist into the man's jaw. The guard crumpled. You shouldn't be here, Cassandra said. Neither should you. His voice was rough. He swayed on his feet. More guards poured through the door. Nathaniel pushed her toward the horse. Ride, now. Not without you. Cassandra. Together or not at all. Your words. He looked at her. Something fierce blazed in his silver eyes. Then he mounted his own horse in one fluid motion that must have cost him agony. Then ride fast. They kicked their horses into a gallop, burst from the stables. The courtyard erupted in chaos. Guards scrambled. Heath stood on the manor steps, screaming orders. Kill them both! Arrows whistled through the air. One struck Nathaniel's horse. The animal screamed, stumbled, went down. Nathaniel hit the ground hard, rolled, came up bleeding. Cassandra wheeled her mare around, rode back. What are you doing? Nathaniel shouted. Saving you. She reached down. Get on. He grabbed her arm. She hauled him up behind her with strength she didn't know she had. The mare staggered under the double weight, but held. They rode for the gates. Guards moved to block them. Hold tight, Cassandra said. She aimed the mare straight at the narrowest gap between two guards. The horse charged through, knocking men aside, and then they were out. Racing down the road toward the forest. Behind them, and Heath's voice carried through the night. 50,000 gold to whoever brings me their heads. They rode until the mare's sides heaved, until even Nathaniel's determination couldn't keep him upright any longer. In a clearing deep in the forest, Cassandra stopped, helped Nathaniel down. He collapsed against a tree, blood soaked through every bandage, every makeshift wrap. His face was ashen. You're dying, she said. Probably. This isn't a joke. I know. He looked at her. Thank you. What for coming back for me? You came back for me first. That's different. Why? Because you're the king and I'm just... Because I'm already dying. His voice was quiet. You had a chance to escape. You should have taken it. And leave you to bleed out alone in Heath's stable? No. Through the bond, she felt his pain, physical and emotional. He'd truly expected her to save herself. Why did you do it? He asked. Tell Heath about the message. Challenge him in front of everyone. But you had to know he'd kill you for it. I was buying you time, causing chaos so you could escape. By sacrificing yourself. Yes. She met his gaze. The same way you've been sacrificing yourself this whole time, using your life as bait to catch Heath, risking everything on a plan that could have killed us both. That's different. It's exactly the same. Anger flared in her chest. You've been making decisions for both of us, hiding information, planning strategies without asking what I want, using me as a piece in your game. I was trying to protect you. By keeping me in the dark, by not telling me about the blood debt clause, by not warning me that marrying you was treason. Her voice rose. I had a right to know. I had a right to choose. If I'd told you everything, I might have chosen differently, and that terrified you, didn't it? That I might say no, yet that I might not want to be part of your dangerous plan. She stepped closer. So you made my choices for me, just like my father. Just like Heath. Just like every man in my life who's decided what's best for me without asking. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. That's not fair. Isn't it? You knew we were fated mates before I did. You knew the marriage was illegal. You knew Heath would discover your identity. Oh, and you didn't tell me any of it until I'd already signed my life away. Because telling you would have put you in more danger. That should have been my decision. Her hands clenched. You don't get to protect me by stealing my choices. You don't get to decide what risks I'm willing to take. Silence. Sharp and painful. Then Nathaniel said quietly, You're right. She blinked. What? You're right. I made your choices for you. I told myself it was protection, but really, he looked away. Really, I was afraid that if you knew everything you'd run, and I'd lose the only chance I had to stop Heath, to get justice for your brother, to save my kingdom. He drew a shaky breath. I used you, just like I accused Heath of doing. The honesty of it struck her silent. I'm sorry, he continued, for lying, for manipulating, for treating you like a tool instead of a partner. His silver eyes met hers. You deserved better. You deserved the truth. And I was too much of a coward to give it to you. Through the bond, she felt the truth of every word, the guilt, the shame, the genuine regret. The mate bond, she said slowly. When did you know? The moment we touched in the chapel, the recognition was immediate. And you said nothing. Because you were desperate, broken. If I'd told you we were fated, you would have thought I was taking advantage, using destiny to trap you. He leaned his head back against the tree. Oh, I wanted you to choose me freely, without the bond, without obligation, just because you wanted to. That's not how it works. You can't build a real choice on lies. I know that now. He closed his eyes. But at the time, I thought I was doing the right thing. Protecting you from one more person trying to control your fate. By controlling it yourself. Yes. The word hung between them, an admission, an apology. Cassandra sat on the ground across from him. Exhaustion crashed over her like a wave. I don't know how to trust you, she said finally. Every time I think I understand who you are, I discover another lie, another secret, another layer you've hidden. I know. And the mate bond? She pressed a hand to her chest, feeling the pull even now. I don't know what's real, what I feel because of the bond, and what I feel because of me. The bond doesn't create emotions, Nathaniel said. It amplifies what's already there, yet it makes compatible people more aware of each other, but it doesn't manufacture love. Then what is this? She gestured between them. This pull, this need to stay close to you even when I'm furious, even when I should walk away. Compatibility, potential, a promise that we could work if we chose to. He opened his eyes. But it's still a choice. The bond doesn't make decisions for us. It just makes the possibility harder to ignore. I'm so tired of fighting, she whispered. Then don't. Don't fight. Don't forgive. Don't decide anything tonight. He shifted, wincing. Just rest. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow. If you're alive tomorrow? If I'm alive tomorrow, he agreed. She looked at him. This king who'd lied to her, used her, risked her life for his mission. This man who'd also protected her, fought for her, come back for her when escape would have been easier. This stranger who was her husband, her mate, her, what? Enemy? Ally? Partner? I need space, she said. From you. From this. When we reach Thornhaven, when this is over, I need time to think without you in my head. Through the bond, she felt his pain, but he nodded. I'll arrange it. Find somewhere you can stay. Somewhere private. Away from court. His voice was rough. The annulment, we can process it whenever you're ready. Just like that? Just like that. You deserve to choose your own path, even if that path doesn't include me. Something in her chest cracked. She'd wanted him to fight, to argue, to say the bond was too strong, that they couldn't separate, that he needed her. Instead, he was giving her exactly what she'd asked for. Freedom. We should keep moving, she said, standing. Heath's men will be searching the forest. Nathaniel tried to stand. Failed. Tried again. This time, his legs gave out completely. Cassandra caught him before he hit the ground. I'm fine, he said. You're not. She felt his pulse, rapid, weak. You've lost too much blood. You need a healer. And now? Can't. We're too far from Nina's cottage, and going back toward the manor is suicide. Then what do we do? Through the bond, she felt him fading, the life slowly leaking out of him. Leave me, he said. Take the mare. Ride to Thornhaven. Find Justin Kane. Give him the journal. Tell him everything. The journal is in your coat, with you. He blinked, pulled it out with shaking hands, pressed it into hers. Now you have it. Nathaniel. Go, please, before it's too late. His eyes held hers. You deserve to live, to be free, to choose your own fate without me complicating it. No. Cassandra, no. She pulled his arm over her shoulders, hauled him upright. We do this together, or not at all. Those were your words. I'm holding you to them. I'm holding you back. You're my husband, illegal or not, fated or not, and I don't abandon people I've made promises to. She started walking, half dragging him. So stop arguing and start walking. What we're finding help. Through the bond, she felt his surprise. Then something else, something warm and fierce and desperately grateful. He leaned on her, put one foot in front of the other, and together they stumbled through the darkness, searching for salvation they might not find. Dawn was breaking when they reached the road. A carriage was approaching. Fine, expensive, bearing the crest of the Royal Council. Cassandra's heart stopped. Were they friend or foe? Loyal to Nathaniel or to Heath's corrupted network? The carriage stopped. A man stepped out, older, distinguished, with kind eyes and silver hair. Your Majesty, he said, bowing to Nathaniel. Thank the gods. We've been searching for days. Justin, Nathaniel breathed. Relief flooded through the bond. You came. Nina sent word. Told us everything. Justin's eyes went to Cassandra. And you must be Lady Cassandra, the Queen. I'm not, she started. You married him. You protected him. Said you fought for him when no one else could. Justin smiled. You're the Queen, whether the marriage is legal or not. Guards emerged from the carriage. Gentle hands took Nathaniel's weight from her shoulders. Get him to the carriage, Justin ordered. We have a healer waiting. They laid Nathaniel on padded seats. A woman in healer's robes began working immediately. Justin turned to Cassandra. "The journal. Do you have it?" She pulled it from inside her dress, handed it over. He opened it, read. His expression hardened. "This is enough," he said. "More than enough. Heath is finished." "And us?" Cassandra asked. "The illegal marriage?" "We'll deal with that when the king isn't dying." Justin gestured to the carriage. "Come, you've both earned rest." Cassandra climbed in, sat across from where Nathaniel lay unconscious, the healer working over him. The carriage began moving. Through the window, she watched Heath's manor disappear in the distance, and wondered what waited for them in Thornhaven. Justice, scandal, judgment, and somewhere in all of it, a choice. To stay or to leave. To forgive or to walk away. To be a queen or just a woman who'd survived. She looked at Nathaniel's pale face, made no decisions, only held the bond between them like a fragile thread, and waited. Chapter 9. The Blood Debt. Thornhaven's castle rose from morning mist like a crown of stone and silver. Cassandra had never seen anything so beautiful or terrifying. The carriage rolled through gates guarded by dozens of soldiers. Every eye turned to watch their arrival. Whispers followed them through the courtyard. "Is that really the king? They say he married in secret. Illegal, treason, scandal." Cassandra kept her spine straight, her chin up, pretended the words didn't cut. As Justin led them through corridors of polished marble, servants bowed as they passed, some with respect, others with barely concealed curiosity or contempt. Nathaniel was carried on a stretcher, still unconscious. The healer had stabilized him during the journey, but he'd lost dangerous amounts of blood. "The king's chambers," Justin told the guards carrying the stretcher. "Post healers at his door. No one enters without my permission." "And the lady?" a guard asked. Justin looked at Cassandra. "Oh, guest chambers. The east wing. Comfortable. Private." "I want to stay with him," she said. "That wouldn't be appropriate. I'm his wife." "An illegal wife, until the council determines otherwise." Justin's voice gentled. "I'm trying to protect you both. If you're seen staying in his chambers, it reinforces the scandal, makes the marriage look real." She smiled bitterly. "It is real, legal or not." "I know, but politics don't care about reality." "They care about appearance." He gestured down a different corridor. "Please, trust me. Give us time to manage this properly." Through the bond, she felt Nathaniel, stable but deeply unconscious. He wouldn't wake for hours. "Fine," she said. "But when he wakes, I want to see him." Agreed. The guest chambers were luxurious. Silk curtains, carved furniture, a bed large enough for 3 people, windows overlooking gardens that seemed to stretch forever, a prison dressed as paradise, and a maid appeared with fresh clothes, helped Cassandra bathe and dress. The girl said nothing, but her eyes were full of questions. When Cassandra was finally alone, she moved to the window. Below, the gardens were full of nobles walking, talking, plotting. She recognized some faces from Heath's dinner. Others were strangers. All of them were watching the castle, waiting. A knock at the door. "Enter," Cassandra called. A woman swept in, tall, elegant, with steel gray hair and eyes that could cut glass. She wore the formal robes of a council member. "Lady Cassandra, I'm Brandy Gillespie, head of the Royal Council." No warmth in her voice. "We need to talk." "About?" "Your marriage to the king, the circumstances, the legality." Brandy sat without being invited. "Tell me everything. Leave nothing out." Cassandra remained standing. Why should I?" "Because your testimony will determine whether you're charged with treason or granted mercy." Brandy's smile was ice. "So, I suggest you cooperate." For the next hour, Cassandra told her story. The forced marriage to Heath, the contract, the blood debt clause, meeting Nathaniel in the chapel. Everything except the mate bond. That felt too private, too sacred to share with this cold woman. Brandy listened without expression, took notes, asked pointed questions. And you expect us to believe you didn't know he was the king? She finally asked. I didn't. A king traveling alone, hiding at a border chapel? And you never suspected? I thought he was in exile. That's what he told me. How convenient. Brandy set down her quill. Here's what I think. I think you knew exactly who he was. I think you seduced him deliberately, trapped him into an illegal marriage to elevate your own status. Anger flared hot in Cassandra's chest. That's absurd! Is it? You're from a noble house, educated, ambitious. Your family's fortune has been declining for years. What better way to restore it than to marry a king? I married him to escape being murdered. So you say, but we only have your word for that. Lord Brent Heath tells a very different story. Ice flooded Cassandra's veins. You spoke to Heath? He arrived this morning, requested an audience with the council. It made serious accusations about you and the king. He's a liar and a murderer. He's a respected lord with connections throughout 3 kingdoms. And you're a woman who entered an illegal royal marriage under suspicious circumstances. Brandy stood. The council will convene tomorrow to determine your fate. I suggest you prepare a better defense than he's lying. She swept out. Cassandra sank onto the bed, hands shaking. Heath was here, in Thornhaven, spinning lies to the council while Nathaniel lay unconscious and unable to defend either of them. A knock, softer this time. Justin entered. His face was grave. You heard? Cassandra asked. The whole castle heard. Brandy doesn't believe in discretion. He sat in the chair Brandy had vacated. Heath has half the council convinced you're a fraud. The other half wants to wait for the king's testimony. When will Nathaniel wake? Tomorrow, maybe the day after. But he's badly wounded. Justin leaned forward. But there's something you should know. Heath isn't just here to accuse you. He's here to claim the blood debt. Her breath stopped. What? He's filed formal papers with the council, claims you breached your contract with him, incurred blood debt, and as the wronged party, he has the right to claim a life. Justin's expression was grim. Yours or the king's. His choice. That's insane. The contract was built on lies, which we can prove, us if given time. But Heath is demanding immediate resolution. Says the law is clear, the debt is valid, and he wants payment now. The journal. Show them the journal. It proves everything. We have the journal. We're building a case, but these things take time. Investigations, testimonies, legal processes. Justin's voice dropped. Heath is trying to force a resolution before we can expose him. If the council rules in his favor tomorrow, he'll kill one of us, legally. Yes, Cassandra stood, paced. Her mind raced. What if I offer myself? She said. What? The blood debt. I'm the one who breached the contract. Let Heath claim my life. Nathaniel lives, finishes the investigation, brings Heath down properly. Absolutely not. It's the only way. If Heath claims Nathaniel's life, the investigation dies with him. Heath wins. The network continues. She faced Justin. But if I die, Nathaniel has time to build the case, to get justice. It's logical. It's suicide. It's sacrifice. There's a difference. Through the bond, she felt Nathaniel stir. Not waking, but responding to her turmoil. She pushed calm through the connection, tried to hide her plan. The king would never allow it, Justin said. The king is unconscious. And by the time he wakes, it will be done. She met Justin's eyes. Please. You said you've served the crown for 40 years. You've watched kings die. Don't let this one die for nothing. Don't let Heath win. Justin stood slowly. You love him? I barely know him. That's not what I asked. Cassandra looked away. It doesn't matter what I feel. What matters is stopping Heath, protecting the kingdom. Isn't that what queens do? Queens who are properly crowned, not girls forced into impossible situations. Justin moved to the door, stopped. I'll think about what you've said, but I make no promises. He left. Cassandra returned to the window, watched the sun set over Thornhaven. Through the bond, as she felt Nathaniel dreaming, fragments of battles, of betrayals, of blood, she sent him peace, warmth, safety, and silently said goodbye. Morning came with ceremony. Guards arrived at her door. Formal dress, polite, but cold. "The council summons you, my lady." The council chamber was vast, carved stone, high ceilings, rows of seats filled with nobles in formal robes. At the center, a raised platform with chairs for council members. Heath stood near the front. He smiled when he saw her. Our Cassandra was led to a defendant's box, wooden, designed to make her small. Brandy called the chamber to order. "We gather to hear the matter of blood debt. Lord Brent Heath claims Lady Cassandra Pratt owes him a life, as specified in their legal contract. Lady Cassandra contests this claim." Brandy's voice echoed. "Lord Heath, present your evidence." Heath stepped forward, confident, prepared. He laid out the contract, showed her signature, explained the blood debt clause, how she'd agreed to all terms, how marriage to another party constituted breach, how the law was ancient but valid. "I ask the council for simple justice," he concluded. "The law is clear. The debt is owed. I claim payment." "And whose life do you claim?" Brandy asked. Heath's eyes found Cassandra's. "The king's." Gasps rippled through the chamber. "You would kill the king?" someone called out. "I would claim what is legally owed." "If he hadn't entered an illegal marriage with my betrothed, he wouldn't be in this position." Heath's smile was poison. "But since he chose to involve himself, he must face the consequences." "The king is wounded," Justin said, standing. "Unconscious. He cannot defend himself." "Then perhaps he should have thought of that before stealing another man's bride." "You plan to murder her!" Cassandra shouted. "The contract was designed to kill me for my inheritance." "Prove it," Heath said calmly. We have your journal, your records, evidence of your entire operation." "You have a book stolen from my property during an illegal break-in. Nothing in it would be admissible in any court." Heath turned to the council. "I'm a victim here. My betrothed was stolen, my property was burgled, and now I'm being accused of crimes based on illegally obtained evidence. Where is the justice?" Murmurs of agreement from some council members. Cassandra's heart sank. He'd prepared for this. As anticipated every argument, turned the law itself into a weapon. "The council will deliberate," Brandy announced. "We reconvene in 1 hour with our decision." The chamber emptied. Cassandra was led to a small waiting room. She sat in silence, felt Nathaniel through the bond, waking now, groggy, confused. Felt him realize where she was, felt his panic. "Stay there," she sent. "Let me handle this." His response was fury and fear combined. "Don't you dare!" She closed the bond, pushed him out, saw built walls he couldn't break through. It was agony, like cutting off her own arm, but necessary. An hour later, the council reconvened. "We have reached a decision," Brandy announced. "After careful review, we find the contract valid. The blood debt clause is legal and binding. Lady Cassandra did breach the terms through her marriage to another party. No. Number. However," Brandy continued, "we also find evidence suggesting Lord Heath may have engaged in fraud regarding the contract's terms, and therefore we delay final judgment pending full investigation." Hope flickered. "In the meantime," Brandy said, "to prevent further violence or escape attempts, Lady Cassandra will be held in custody. Lord Heath, your claim is noted but not yet granted. You may not act on the blood debt until the investigation concludes." "How long will that take?" Heath demanded. "As long as necessary." Heath's face went dark, but he bowed. "As the council wishes." Guards moved to escort Cassandra, and then the chamber doors burst open. Nathaniel stood there. He shouldn't have been standing, shouldn't have been conscious. But there he was, pale, bandaged, leaning heavily on 2 guards, fury blazing in his silver eyes. "This trial," he said, voice carrying through the chamber, "is over." Brandy stood. Your Majesty, you're meant to be not dying, apparently. He walked forward. Every step looked like agony, and not allowing my wife to be judged in my absence. Your wife, Heath said smoothly, is an illegal designation. My mate. Nathaniel's voice was thunder. Recognized by blood and bond, which overrides any human contract, any legal proceeding, any noble law you wish to cite. The chamber went silent. The mate bond, Brandy said slowly, is sacred. Yeah, but it doesn't absolve illegal marriage. It does when the marriage was entered to save her life from a man planning murder. Nathaniel pulled documents from inside his coat. These are depositions from servants at Heath's estate, testimonies about conversations overheard, plans discussed, all of it confirming Lady Cassandra's story. He threw the papers on the council table. Heath planned to kill her. The contract was designed for murder, and when she escaped, well, he tried to use the law to finish what he started. Nathaniel's gaze locked on Heath. But he made one mistake. He tried to claim the life of my mate, and that, his smile was cold and deadly, is a declaration of war. Heath stepped back. Blood debt works both ways, Nathaniel continued. You claim she owes you a life. Fine. But by threatening her, you've incurred blood debt to me for attempted murder of the king's mate, for conspiracy against the crown, but for treason. That's not how the law works. That's exactly how it works. And unlike you, I have proof. Nathaniel gestured. Justin stepped forward with the journal. Everything is here. Your network, your crimes, your accomplices, including, he paused, 3 members of this council. Shocked silence. Then chaos erupted. You accuse council members? Brandy demanded. I accuse traitors. Nathaniel opened the journal, read 3 names. All documented as receiving payments from Heath's network, all complicit in the conspiracy. The named council members turned white. This is an outrage, one shouted. This is justice, Nathaniel replied. Guards, arrest them. Arrest Heath. Arrest every name in this journal connected to the network. Guards moved. Heath tried to run, didn't make it 3 steps before he was tackled to the floor. As he was dragged away, he screamed, The blood debt stands! Just she owes me. She owes you nothing. Nathaniel's voice was ice. Because the contract was fraudulent. The court nullifies it. Here, now, by royal decree. You can't. I'm the king. I can. Heath was dragged from the chamber, still screaming threats. The chaos continued. Council members shouting, guards arresting, papers flying. Through it all, Nathaniel walked to Cassandra. Are you hurt? He asked quietly. You should be in bed. You closed the bond. You tried to face this alone. His hand touched her face. Don't ever do that again. I was trying to protect you, and I'm trying to protect you. Seems we're both terrible at letting the other one take risks. His smile was tired. We'll have to work on that. She wanted to be angry, wanted to yell at him for leaving his sickbed, for risking his health, for being so impossibly stubborn. Instead, she started crying. He pulled her close, let her shake against him. It's over, he whispered. Heath is finished. The network is exposed. You're safe. For how long? Forever, if I have any say in it. She pulled back, looked at him. The marriage is still illegal. Yes. The council will demand annulment. Probably. And then? His silver eyes held hers. Then you decide. Stay or go. Be queen or be free. Whatever you choose, I'll support it. Through the bond, now open again, she felt his truth. He meant it. Every word. I need time, she whispered. Oh, take all the time you need. Justin approached. Your Majesty, the healers are insisting you return to your chambers. You're bleeding through your bandages. Nathaniel looked down. His shirt was soaked red. Apparently. Go, Cassandra said. Rest. We'll talk when you're not dying. Is that an order? Yes. He smiled. Yes, my queen. Then he collapsed. Healers rushed forward, guards carried him from the chamber, and Cassandra stood alone in the chaos, watching him disappear, wondering if she'd just sent away the man she loved, or the man she needed to walk away from. Chapter 10. The Queen's Terms. 3 weeks passed like a dream. Heath was imprisoned, awaiting trial. The corrupted council members were removed. Justin worked day and night restructuring the government, rooting out every connection to the smuggling network. Nathaniel recovered slowly. The healers said he'd been hours from death when he collapsed in the council chamber. But Wolfkind healed fast, and stubborn kings healed faster. Cassandra stayed in the guest chambers. It watched Thornhaven from her window. Nobles visited, offering false friendship and genuine curiosity. She declined them all. The bond hummed between her and Nathaniel constantly. She felt him healing, felt his frustration at being bedridden, felt his respect for her request for space. He didn't push, didn't demand, just sent warmth through the connection whenever she seemed troubled. On the 21st day, a letter arrived. The council has prepared annulment papers. All that's needed is your signature and mine. No scandal, no charges, clean separation. You'll keep your title as Lady of the Eastern Trade Houses. Your inheritance will be restored, and you'll be free. N. She stared at the letter for an hour. Freedom, everything she'd wanted since this began. So why did it feel like losing something precious? A knock at the door. "Enter," she called. Nina stepped in. The older woman had arrived at Thornhaven a week ago, unofficially appointed as Cassandra's advisor. "You've been staring at that letter since dawn," Nina said. "Planning to actually read it, or just burn holes in it with your eyes?" "I've read it. And I don't know what I want." Nina sat. "Then let's figure it out. What are you afraid of?" "That I'm making another mistake. That I'm confusing the mate bond with love. That I'm staying because I feel obligated, and not because I want to." "Valid fears." Nina poured tea from the service that appeared magically 3 times a day. "Now answer this. If there was no mate bond, no obligation, no politics, would you still want him?" Cassandra thought of Nathaniel's rare smile, his terrible jokes when he was in pain. The way he listened when she talked. Really listened, like her words mattered. His absolute certainty that she could handle the truth, even when it was ugly. "Yes," she whispered. I think I would." "Then the bond isn't the problem. The lies are." He apologized. Apologies are words. Trust is rebuilt through actions. Nina sipped her tea. "Has he given you space when you asked?" "Yes." "Has he tried to pressure you into staying?" "No. He's offered me complete freedom, money, protection, a fresh start anywhere I want." "Then he's learned. The question is, have you forgiven him?" Cassandra set down the letter. "I don't know if I can, as every time I think about how he hid the truth, used my desperation, he made mistakes, human mistakes or wolfkind mistakes, whatever you want to call them. He was trying to survive in a world that wanted him dead, and yes, he used you, but he also protected you, fought for you, nearly died for you." Nina's eyes were knowing. "You're not angry that he lied. You're angry that his lies worked, that despite everything you fell for him anyway." The words hit like a physical blow. "I hate that you're right," Cassandra muttered. Nina smiled. "I'm old. I'm supposed to be right." She stood. "He's in the gardens, East Terrace, if you want to talk to him." "I didn't say—" "You've been staring at that terrace from your window for 3 weeks. I'm old, not blind." Nina moved to the door. "Whatever you decide, make it yours. Not what he wants, not what the kingdom needs, what you want." She left. Cassandra looked at the letter again, and then at the window where the East Terrace was visible below. She made a decision. Nathaniel sat on a stone bench, reading reports. His shoulder was still bandaged, but he moved more easily now, almost back to full strength. He looked up when she approached, carefully neutral expression. "Cassandra, you're supposed to be resting." "I'm sitting. This counts as resting." He set down the reports. Did you get my letter? Yes. And? She sat beside him, not touching, but close. I have conditions. Something flickered in his silver eyes. Hope, maybe. I'm listening. First, if we stay married, it's because I choose it. Not because of the mate bond, not because of politics, because I want to be your wife. Agreed. Second, no more secrets, ever. If there's something I need to know, you tell me. Even if you think it will hurt me, even if you think you're protecting me. I make my own decisions about what I can handle. Agreed. Third, I want to be involved. In the investigations, in rebuilding the network, in running the kingdom. I'm not a figurehead. I'm not decoration. If I'm queen, I'm an active queen. He smiled. I wouldn't want you any other way. And fourth, she took a breath. I want the mate bond explained. All of it. What it means, what it does, what I'm agreeing to. No more surprises. Fair. Nathaniel shifted to face her fully. The mate bond is recognition of compatibility. When two wolfkind, or in your case, and someone with wolf blood in their lineage, are fundamentally suited for each other, there's a pull, a sense of rightness. It makes emotions stronger, makes us more aware of each other, creates a connection that persists even across distance. Does it fade, if we're apart? No, but it can be ignored, suppressed. People have walked away from mate bonds before. It's painful, but possible. And if we stay together? It deepens, becomes part of who we are. We'll always feel each other, emotions, pain, joy. It's intimate, permanent. He met her eyes. It's also a choice. The bond creates potential. We create the reality. She processed that. And you've been feeling everything I've felt for 3 weeks. Yes. The anger, the confusion, She stopped. The love? He asked quietly. Yes, I felt that too. Her breath caught. I didn't mean... You don't have to explain. Emotions are complicated, especially when someone's lied to you. He took her hand carefully. I felt your anger, your fear, your uncertainty, and underneath all of it, affection you weren't ready to admit. That's an invasion of privacy. It is. I'm sorry. If I could turn the bond off to give you true privacy, I would. But I can't. His thumb traced circles on her palm. All I can do is promise never to use what I feel against you, never to manipulate your emotions, never to assume I know what you want just because I can sense what you feel. Can I feel what you feel? If you open yourself to the bond, yes. She closed her eyes, opened the connection she'd been keeping carefully contained. His emotions flooded in. Relief that she was here, talking to him. Fear that she'd signed the annulment. Bone-deep exhaustion from weeks of recovery. Guilt over the lies he'd told. And underneath everything, love. Fierce, protective, absolute love that made her chest ache. Oh, she whispered. Yeah. His voice was rough. That's been there since the chapel, growing stronger every day. Even when you hated me. I loved you. Even when you closed the bond, I loved you. Even if you sign those annulment papers and walk away, I'll still love you. Tears burned her eyes. That's not fair. I know. You can't say things like that and expect me to think clearly. I'm not trying to manipulate you. You asked what the bond does. I'm showing you. He cupped her face. This is what you're signing up for. Me, completely in love with you, feeling everything you feel, unable to hide anything. Yet it's terrifying and vulnerable and the opposite of the control I've spent my whole life maintaining. And you'd give that up? The control? For you? Yes. No hesitation. I'd give up anything for you. She kissed him. It wasn't planned, wasn't thought through, just a desperate need to show him what words couldn't convey. He responded immediately. Gentle at first, then deeper. His hand tangled in her hair, her fingers gripped his shirt. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, yet he pressed his forehead to hers. Does this mean? It means I'm not signing the annulment papers. Cassandra, it means I choose you, lies and all, mate bond and all, crazy dangerous plans and all. She pulled back to look at him. But if you ever hide something that important from me again, I will make you regret it in ways you can't imagine. He smiled. Noted. I'm serious. I know, and I promise, complete honesty, even when it's ugly, even when it hurts. His expression sobered. Oh, are you sure? Being queen isn't easy. The council will scrutinize everything you do, the nobles will resent you, there will be threats and attempts and I'll handle it. Because I'm not some delicate flower who needs protecting. I'm the woman who stole documents from her own father, who escaped a murderer's estate twice, who faced down a corrupt council to save your life. She smiled. I think I can handle some judgmental nobles. You're terrifying. Good. A queen should be. He laughed. Oh, actually laughed. The sound made something warm bloom in her chest. So what now? She asked. Now? He stood, offered his hand. We make this legal. Proper royal wedding. Council approval, public ceremony. Everything we didn't have the first time. That sounds exhausting. It will be. Months of planning, political negotiations, dress fittings and seating charts and… When can we start? His smile was brilliant. Right now. 6 months later. The coronation was everything a royal wedding should be. The great cathedral was filled with nobles from every kingdom. Flowers covered every surface. Music swelled from 100-piece orchestra. Cassandra wore white silk that cost more than her family's entire estate. A crown of silver and diamonds waited on the altar, but all she saw was Nathaniel at the end of the aisle. He wore formal royal regalia, black and silver, the colors of Thornhaven. His shoulder had healed completely, and he stood straight, strong, king in every sense of the word. When their eyes met, he smiled. Through the bond, she felt his joy, his pride, his absolute certainty that this was right. She walked down the aisle alone. No father to give her away. She'd made her own choice. She'd walk on her own feet. When she reached the altar, Nathaniel took her hand. Ready? He whispered. Terrified. Good. Me too. The ceremony was long, formal, full of ancient words and sacred vows. But when it came time for their personal vows, Nathaniel spoke from the heart. I promise to never lie to you again, to trust you with the truth, even when it's hard, to see you as my partner, not my possession, to love you not because fate says I should, but because I choose to, every day, for the rest of my life. Cassandra's turn. I promise to forgive your mistakes as long as you learn from them, to stand beside you, not behind you, and to challenge you when you're wrong and support you when you're right. To love you not because of the mate bond, but because of who you are, stubborn, infuriating, and mine. He grinned at that last word. The officiant pronounced them king and queen, husband and wife, partners in ruling Thornhaven. The crown was placed on her head. It was heavy, but she stood straight beneath its weight, because she wasn't the desperate girl who'd stumbled into a chapel 6 months ago. She was Queen Cassandra of Thornhaven, and she'd earned every bit of that title. The epilogue. The wedding celebration lasted 3 days. Nobles danced. Toasts were made. Political alliances were formed and reformed. On the 3rd night, Cassandra and Nathaniel finally escaped to their private chambers. Exhausted? He asked, helping her remove the crown. Completely. She rubbed her temples where the crown had pressed. How do you wear that thing every day? Very carefully. He set the crown on its stand. You did well, but the nobles are terrified of you. Good. Lady Brandy tried to lecture you about proper queenly behavior. I know. I told her if she had notes on my behavior, she could write them down and I'd consider reading them. Maybe. He laughed. You're going to be a fantastic queen. I'm going to be a nightmare queen. There's a difference. Even better. She turned to face him. What about Heath's trial? Any updates? Sentenced this morning. Life imprisonment. No chance of parole. His entire estate was seized. Every accomplice arrested. Nathaniel's expression hardened. Including your father. Cassandra felt nothing. No grief, no anger, just emptiness where her father had been. Is that wrong? She asked. That I don't feel anything? No. He made his choices. You made yours. You don't owe him grief. Nathaniel pulled her close. But if you need to feel something later, if it hits you, I'll be here. I know. Through the bond, she felt his love, steady as a heartbeat, and constant as the tide. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For coming back for me. In the forest, in the council chamber, every time I've needed you. She looked up at him. For being someone worth forgiving. Thank you for forgiving me, for staying, for being brave enough to choose me when walking away would have been easier. It wouldn't have been easier. It would have been safer. There's a difference. He kissed her, slow and deep, the kind of kiss that promised decades of more kisses. When they finally broke apart, she smiled. So, what now, Your Majesty? Now? He grinned. Now we rule a kingdom. Hunt down the remaining criminals, rebuild the trade networks, establish new laws, prove to everyone that an illegal marriage can become the strongest partnership in royal history. That's a lot of work. Yes. Sounds exhausting. Probably. When do we start? Tomorrow. He lifted her, carried her toward the bed. Tonight, we celebrate being married. Again. Illegally this time. She laughed as he set her down on silk sheets. You know, when I walked into that chapel 6 months ago, I never imagined this. What? Becoming queen? No, being happy. She pulled him down beside her. Being free. Being loved. You deserve all of it. So do you. Through the bond, their emotions tangled together. Love, joy, hope, certainty. And underneath it all, the quiet knowledge that they'd survived the worst and come out stronger. Together. Always together. Outside, Thornhaven celebrated its new queen. Inside, two people who'd found each other in darkness celebrated the light they'd built. As we reach the end of Cassandra and Nathaniel's journey, she taught us something powerful. Freedom isn't just escaping the cage. It's having the courage to choose your own path, even when that path leads back to someone who hurt you. So I'm curious, if you were in her position, would you have forgiven him and stayed? Or would you have signed those annulment papers and walked away? What's the bravest choice you've ever made? Let me know in the comments below.